We tend to think of manipulation as purely a bad thing, but manipulation isn't all bad because we can all be manipulative when there's something we want and we want to get people on board with our ideas. Maybe it's a promotion at work. Maybe you're trying to impress somebody. Maybe you're trying to convince your child that they should take certain medicine and eat vegetables because it's healthy for them. You don't always get people on board with your idea through brute force coercion. That's not really the world we live in, at least not in many parts of the world. But instead, you play the psychology, which is trying to get people on board with your idea. But manipulation, whether it's good or bad, depends on how it's being applied. And sometimes being manipulated, whether being manipulated is good or bad, really depends. Because if somebody, let's say you're looking to get a promotion at work, and then the company, your bosses, let's say they're trying to set certain targets for you to get you to, work harder, basically bring in more money, help keeps customers more satisfied, doing all the work that ultimately is good for them because it makes them get more money, the firm get more money. But you also have something in it for you, which is you end up ticking all those boxes, meeting those goals, which means they think you're ready for promotion. So you get that. Everybody wins. Some people might say that setting certain performance targets or trying to change certain behaviors in certain ways could be quite manipulative, but actually it's an alignment of interests. So where you do have manipulation being an alignment of interests, then that's a good thing because that's what makes the world go round. This kind of transactional environment where you help somebody and then they help you, and hopefully you're aiming towards a common goal. But then you have other types of manipulations. You have people who basically get off on the idea that they can control people. You have people who get off on the idea that they're able to encourage or coerce or entice people into certain actions which actually are to their detriment. And sometimes the manipulator will gain, but the other person loses. This kind of manipulation, that's for self gain, but to the detriment of the other person, that's very bad and that's very dangerous to the object of the manipulation. Or sometimes you have, and sometimes you have manipulators who aren't purely driven by greed, but rather some people just like the idea of having control. That the duper's delight, just by knowing they're able to guide you into a certain course of action, makes them feel good about themselves. That can be quite dangerous too, because you're around a very controlling, self-centered, egocentric person who only cares about satisfying their need to be able to control you rather than you doing and feeling well. But then you have the worst types of manipulators, which are the sadists, who aren't even out to gain anything per se, but they manipulate you into a course of action to see you hurt yourself, to see you destroy yourself. Maybe somebody tells you to invest money in a certain stock because they know that stock is going to fall in value, but they encourage you thinking it's the best decision in the world because they point to so many indicators suggesting why that stock is going to increase in value. And so you do it. But once you do that, you might lose half or all of your savings because you made a bad decision. Or people who encourage you maybe through intense conversations and manipulations might encourage you to leave your spouse or your partner, thinking, explaining to you why the person isn't healthy for you. But maybe the person was healthy for you. And then once you left, you made a very bad decision, very irreversible, causing immense damage, and you can't really recover from it. So again, some manipulators are purely sadistic. Very dark motives behind their manipulations. And again, those are the ones you want to avoid. So going back to manipulation, is it good? Is it bad? Is it natural? Well, to some extent, yes, it is natural. Because we all need to get people to sometimes understand our point of view and sometimes be on board with us. And sometimes we need to convince them in the right way. So it's natural in that sense. And manipulation can be good when there's an alignment of interest. So some people might subtly coerce you into a certain course of action, but at the end of the day, that course of action will benefit them, but also you. Like the idea of changing your approach to work, basically being more productive, more money to the firm, you get a promotion, you get a bigger bonus. That's a win-win for everybody. So that manipulation with the alignment of interest is a good thing. But then the other two areas of manipulation that I mentioned, which are people who manipulate, the sadists who manipulate to destroy you just to feel good about your destruction, or those who manipulate just to know they can exert some kind of control over you. The delight that they feel by being able to have power over another human being without any tangible benefit for you or them. Those personalities you have to be careful about. And when you see people doing that, when you get a feel that people are trying to coerce you into certain actions and feel good about it, even though there's no real motive for that, or at least there's no beneficial motive, you need to be careful. So just be mindful of those people who have an influence in your life, and be mindful of the ones that you feel are adding things, guiding you to good directions, versus those which might be taken away, might be trying to control you. Because those are the ones you want to minimize your interactions with.